Oh, Annu Anamanan. You want to see?
Showing.
How do I make the sky full for you?
இங்கெல்ல அந்த ரூம்ல தான் இருக்கும்.
Your mic is there.
Good morning, students. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
My voice is clear?
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, your mic is turned off.
Sir, you're not audible, sir.
Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So this is the first model. Okay, what you are going to see. So what is it? What is this model?
Mature sperm.
Already it is labeled structure of mature sperm. Okay. So in this model is kept means they can ask anything. They can ask about spermatogenesis or spermiogenesis. Anything may be asked, but you should be able to demonstrate the whatever points you know. Okay. So what do you know here? Please tell. What are the various parts of what are the various parts of the sperm you are seeing here?
Head, neck, and tail.
Very good. Head you are seeing. So this is the acrosomal cap. Okay. This is the neck. So here you will be having that centriole. So these are the what is this? Mitochondrial sheath. Okay. So next, so this is the middle piece. So this is the principal piece of the tail. So this is the end piece. So like that, you should be able to demonstrate. The examiner may ask anything. So that you keep it in mind. Okay. So spermatogenesis, spermiogenesis, anything they may ask. but you should be able to demonstrate the various parts in this. Okay, all of you clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So next model, what is this?
Graffian follicle.
Graffian follicle.
Graffian follicle. Okay, so this is the matured Graffian follicle. So here I will point out the things you have to tell. What is this? What is this? What is this?
Secondary, you said.
What?
Zona pellucida and
Very good, very good. So this is zona pellucida. Okay. How do you say this is secondary oocyte? Very good, very good, very good answer, but it is wrong. Why do you say it is secondary oocyte? To say secondary oocyte, what should be there?
second polar body.
First polar body.
First polar body.
There should be first polar body in the perivitelline space. Okay, so here we don't get polar body. So it is primary oocyte. Yes. So that point you should be very clear, so that the examiner may ask you to please mute yourself. Examiner may ask you to demonstrate whether this is secondary or primary. So that point is important. There is no first polar body. So that's why it is only primary oocyte. So this is zona pellucida. What is this?
Cumulus oophorus.
Very good. Cumulus oophoricus. What is this? What you have this side is, so this is cumulus. What you have this side, through that it is attached to the membrana granulosa. Discus.
Discus proligerus.
Discus proligerus. So this is discus proligerus. Now what about these things? What are these cells? They are
For supporting follicular cells.
proliferated follicular cells covering the oocyte like a membrane. It is otherwise called as
Membrana
granulosa. Membrana granulosa. So this is membrana granulosa. So this is primary oocyte. So this is the antrum. It is called as antrum folliculi or follicular cavity. Okay. So this is your Graffian follicle. So these are the things you should know. So still outer to that, what do you expect? Outer to this membrana granulosa, what do you expect?
Theca interna, theca externa.
Very good, very good. Theca interna and theca externa. Okay, so theca interna is cellular and vascular. Outer to that, you will be having theca externa. So that is called as fibrous layer. It is made up of only fibrous tissue. So that is the difference between theca interna and externa. So that theca interna and externa is not here. So what you are seeing here is the membrana granulosa. They are nothing but proliferated follicular cells. So the proliferated follicular cells of this one is called as cumulus oophoricus. What you have this side is called as discus proligerus. This is zona pellucida. So this is primary oocyte. There is no polar body. So that's why this is primary oocyte. So that much is enough regarding this model. Okay. Are you clear with this?
Yes, sir.
So next, what is this?
Blastocyst.
So already it is labeled blastocyst, but during your viva, that labeling will be covered with some paper or something else. Okay, so by seeing itself, you should be able to tell what is it. Okay, so very good. It is blastocyst. What is that blue color structure?
Inner cell.
Very good. Inner cell mass. So this is inner cell mass, or otherwise called as other name given to that inner cell mass.
Embryoblast.
Very good. Embryoblast. Embryoblast. So now outer to that, what we have is called as outer cell mass, or otherwise
Trophoblast.
Very good. Tropoblast. So this is tropoblast. This is embryoblast, or otherwise called as inner cell mass. This is your outer cell mass. Okay. So next important point here, that tropoblast gives rise to
Trophoectoderm.
Placenta.
Amphipluric.
no.
Placenta.
Placenta. Tropo means supporting cells. Tropo means supporting. So that's this
Amnion.
tropoblast gives rise. No, it gives rise to placenta. Then later on we have that modification of embryoblast. In that only we will be getting all those things. What you are telling, what you told, somebody told ectoderm, somebody told amnion, all are formed during the development of embryo only. This embryoblast will be getting converted into embryo. During that conversion of this embryoblast, what we are getting is your what is it? Your ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm, that is gastrulation. Then you will be having formation of amniotic cavity and yolk sac. That and all in the embryo that we are going to see. Okay, so now this is basic blastocyst, where we are having inner cell mass or embryoblast, outer cell mass or tropoblast. So the outer cell mass tropoblast gives rise to placenta. Inner cell mass gives rise to embryo. So that much is enough in this. Next, your morula is getting converted into blastocyst. Am I correct? Morula is getting converted into blastocyst. Am I correct or not? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Where it takes place?
So in the uterus.
In the uterus. Any other answer? It is in the fallopian tube. While passing through the fallopian tube itself, so we are having formation of zygote. Then it is getting divided to form blastomeres. So roughly 16 to 32 cell stage is called as morula. So by that time it will pass through the fallopian tube only. Now the secretions by the cells of fallopian tube enter into this blastocyst, enter into the morula. As that fluids are entering inside, they are getting accumulated here. That only leads to formation of our blastocyst. So early stage of blastocyst, you will be having formation in the fallopian stage itself. Later on, of course, final stage of blastocyst, where you will be having this. Actually, in the early stage, we will be having zona pellucida covering it. But in the late stage, the zona pellucida will not be there. So that is at that time, it reaches your uterine cavity. While passing through the fallopian tube itself, we are getting the formation of our blastocyst. So that is important. Next, now another point what you have to know. So here inner cell mass is attached. What is this pole of embryo called as?
Embryonic pole.
Yes, this is embryonic pole. So the other one is abembryonic pole. Okay, so that much is enough here. Okay, are you clear with this?
Yes, sir.
So whatever I am getting in my mind, I am telling. The examiner may ask anything. Okay, so but you should be able to identify it. What is blastomere? What is inner cell mass? What is outer cell mass? What we are getting from outer cell mass? What we are getting from inner cell mass? Where we have the formation of this blastocyst? That much you should know. So now what is this? So embryonic fold formation. So cephalocaudal folding. So see that subsequent models. Beginning of folding. Okay. So all these models are same thing. So this is before that cephalocaudal folding. What is this cavity called as?
Amniotic.
That is amniotic cavity. Very good. What is this cavity?
Yolk sac.
So this is yolk sac. So this is ectoderm. This is endoderm. So bilaminar disc. Now this is amniotic cavity. So this is your yolk sac. What will be covering on the outer aspect here? PGs. What will be the covering here? Are you able to recollect? PGs? Extra embryonic mesoderm. Extra embryonic mesoderm will be covering your amniotic cavity as well as yolk sac and outer aspect of the your chorionic plate. So that only we used to call it as what is covering your amniotic cavity and the body wall is called a somatopleuric layer. What is covering your yolk sac is planktopleuric layer of extra embryonic mesoderm. Okay, so this is before cephalocaudal folding. So this is connecting stalk. Connecting stalk. What is this entering into the connecting stalk? So here, which is the caudal end, which is the cranial end here? So this will be the site of buccopharyngeal membrane. Okay, so this is the cranial end, this is the caudal end. So this is the your allantoic diverticulum. Allantoic diverticulum entering into the connecting stalk. Okay, so this much is enough for this model. So you have to identify this is as amniotic cavity, this is as yolk sac. So what is given in blue color for understanding purpose is ectoderm. So this is your endoderm. So this is the connecting stalk. What is covering here is the extra embryonic mesoderm. Extra embryonic mesoderm. So next one is next stage of cephalocaudal folding. So here you see you are able to make out small part of your yolk sac is getting incorporated along with the embryo. What is this called as? Yes, already I have given the clue also. So this is allantoic diverticulum. So that is the site of your pages.
Buccopharyngeal membrane.
No, buccopharyngeal membrane at the cranial end. So that's what I told. This will be the cranial end. This will be the caudal end. That is the clue I have given. Based on that, I expected this answer, but you didn't tell. So this is I am telling us allantoic diverticulum. What is allantoic diverticulum? Entering into the connecting stalk. Now here it is very clear. Allantoic diverticulum is there, entering into the connecting stalk. Once again, this is amniotic cavity. See that size of the amniotic cavity. Here it is somewhat small. Here it is getting enlarged. Finally, after final cephalocaudal folding, where amniotic cavity will cover the entire part of the embryo. So by that time, very small part of the yolk sac will be incorporated along with the embryo. So this is the site of primitive gut. So this is primitive gut. So this is hind gut. From the hind gut only you will be having entering of allantoic diverticulum into the connecting stalk. So if you see that connecting stalk, that is part of your extra embryonic mesoderm. At that site, you don't get the formation of your extra embryonic coelom. So that is connecting stalk. In the early stage, in the connecting stalk, you will be having two diverticulum. One is this, your allantoic diverticulum. After the complete cephalocaudal folding, you will be having your vitellointestinal duct also passing through that. So these are the two contents of connecting stalk in the early stage. Later on, vitellointestinal duct as well as allantoic diverticulum both will degenerate. At that time, you will be having only that umbilical blood vessels in the connecting stalk. Now, this is your buccopharyngeal membrane. Cranial to that, what you see here is the developing heart in the mesoderm. So this is developing heart. So here it is not this. This is your site of developing heart. So here you are able to make out that this is developing heart. Are you clear with this? Okay, ectoderm, endoderm. So this is future primitive gut. This is allandic diverticulum entering into the connecting stalk. So this is your connecting stalk. So amniotic cavity covered with somatopleuric layer of extraembryonic mesoderm. Here you will be having splanchnopluric layer of extraembryonic mesoderm. So now next stage, same thing. Okay. So now you see, so this is that primitive gut. Yolk sac is getting reduced in size. At the same time, amniotic cavity is getting increased in size. So now primitive gut, hind gut, allandic diverticulum, developing heart. So this is the next stage. So 3/4 of cephalocaudal folding is over. See that your amniotic cavity is further getting increased. Now the primitive gut has been formed. So this is the primitive gut. So how that primitive gut is formed? So many times I repeated this while telling about the general embryology, while telling
Finally,
about
endoderm and yolk sac gets incorporated into the cephalocaudal folding.
yes, the part of yolk sac along with the endoderm incorporated along with the embryo during cephalocaudal folding. During cephalocaudal folding of the embryo, it is nothing but your yolk sac only, small part of the yolk sac. Okay. So now this is your primitive gut. What is this part of primitive gut is called as? Yes, students, please interact. What already 167 students are there. I am not getting any voice from others. So this is foregut.
Foregut.
Yes, midgut, hindgut. Foregut, midgut, hindgut. Okay. So now this is called as, what is this? Midgut is connected to the very good.
Vitellointestinal duct.
Vitellointestinal duct. So after cephalocaudal folding, that connecting stalk will come to the anterior aspect. Now you see this is the allandic diverticulum coming from the hindgut. This is vitellointestinal duct. Both are present in the connecting stalk. Now this is developing heart. So this is developing heart. This is your ectoderm. So this is your endoderm with primitive gut. So this lining is endoderm. This tubular part is gut. Primitive gut, foregut, midgut, hindgut. From the hindgut, allandic diverticulum. So this is part of yolk sac only. So the midgut is connected to the yolk sac through vitellointestinal duct. Are you clear with these models? All are same explanation. Okay. So beginning of cephalocaudal folding, it is in progress, almost over. Okay. So that is your cephalocaudal folding of the embryo. So you should be able to demonstrate whatever things you see. Once again, I will tell. So this is your yes, students. Amniotic cavity. This is
Yolk
yolk sac. This is
Vitellointestinal duct.
so this is
Primitive gut.
if I show everything, that is primitive gut. So this is at the cephalic end. So foregut, midgut, hindgut. From the hindgut, allandic diverticulum. Okay, this is your developing heart. So what you have to appreciate here, developing heart level is cranial to the level of buccopharyngeal membrane. Then slowly it is coming to the ventral aspect. Finally, it comes to the ventral aspect. So that is the main event taking place during cephalocaudal folding. Okay. So that is developing heart. So this much is enough for these models. Okay. What is this?
Rotation of gut.
Pancreas.
Pancreas. You are seeing pancreas. Okay. Anybody else? Somebody told what, Purva? Purva Manohar.
So
Yes.
rotation of gut, sir.
Rotation of gut. Very good. Rotation of gut. Okay. So here you may not be able to see the pancreas. Okay. So pancreas model, we have 3 models that we will see. Okay. So this is your rotation of gut. Rotation of gut means always that is your mid gut. Okay. Now you see. So this is your connecting stalk. Okay. So giving rise to your umbilical cord. So now here, so this is your midgut. What is physiological hernia? Sachin? Sachin is there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
169. Yes. What is physiological hernia, Sachin? Hernia is abnormal, isn't it?
Like it is
Now
rapid
here,
growth of the hindgut, I think so, sir.
hindgut. Now, just
Protrusion
now I told
of-
it is midgut. If you are telling rotation of gut means,
Sorry, sir. It is like a protrusion of the midgut.
it is midgut only. So initially what happens, midgut is getting elongated. It is getting elongated to form midgut loop. Okay, so what is the artery of midgut?
Superior mesenteric artery.
Very good. So this is your superior mesenteric artery. Okay, so during that rotation, what happens due to want of space, small part of the intestine is or midgut loop is getting herniated into the umbilicus. So that is called as, naturally it happens. That's why it is called as physiological hernia. During the rotation of final rotation of gut, it will reduce into the abdomen once again. Okay, re-entry of the herniated organs into the abdomen is called as reduction. We no need to tell us re-entry or getting back into the abdomen. So that is medical terminology for this is reduction. So reduction of physiological hernia. So if there is any failure of reduction of physiological hernia, that leads to what?
Omphalocele.
Very good. Ampelocele. Very good. Very good. Okay, so this and all you should know. Then about midgut rotation, how many degrees of rotations are there? So you'll be having first 90, second 90, third 90, totally 270 degrees rotation in anti-clockwise direction. Now this is the artery, superior mesenteric artery. So now you see, once that midgut loop is formed, it is divided into where what is that? This is the upper limb. So this is your caudal limb or cranial limb of midgut loop. This is caudal limb or pre-arterial segment and post-arterial segment. Okay. So now that pre-arterial or cranial limb only undergoes coiling. So what do you expect from this pre-arterial segment or cranial limb as it is undergoing coiling? It gives rise to
Ileum.
Distal half of duodenum, jejunum, and ileum.
jejunum, mainly jejunum and ileum. Only jejunum and ileum are coiled. So now this is the caudal limb. So this caudal limb, actually this enlargement you are seeing here. Okay, so this is called as cecal bud or cecal diverticulum. So this part gives rise to your cecum and appendix. So this part is not undergoing coiling. So this part gives rise to your right 2/3 of transverse colon. So now this is the artery. So this coiled part is the cranial limb of the midgut loop. So this is caudal limb of the midgut loop. So in the caudal limb, so this is the cecal diverticulum. So once after the reduction of physiological hernia, the cecum will descend down from the level of liver down to the right iliac fossa. Then only you will be having formation of ascending colon. In this stage, you may not be able to show your ascending colon. So now this is your, this part will form the right 2/3 of transverse colon. So that is your physiological hernia rotation of gut. Rotation of gut means that denotes midgut only. So that point you have to keep it in mind. Okay. So in addition to that, you should be able to demonstrate the other structures what you are seeing here. So what is this?
Stomach,
Developing stomach. So this is your
gallbladder,
gallbladder. Okay. So this will be
spleen,
spleen. Yes, very good. So this is stomach. So this is the dorsal mesogastrium. In the dorsal mesogastrium, you will be seeing your developing spleen. Okay, so this model, what you have to identify is it is the rotation of gut. So rotation of gut means midgut. Okay, so you should be able to identify that artery. That artery is the superior mesenteric artery. So now this is the cranial limb that undergoes coiling to form mainly jejunum and ileum. So this is the caudal limb. So in the caudal limb, you will be having formation of cecal diverticulum or cecal bud that gives rise to cecum and appendix. So after that reduction of physiological hernia, that will descend from the level of liver down to the right iliac fossa. During that descent only, we are having formation of your ascending colon. Not now. Now remaining part, the uncoiled part of your caudal limb forms only your right 2/3 of transverse colon. So this much is enough for you. Next, the rotation. So totally you will be having 270 degrees rotation. 90 degree first, next 90, next 90. So that is total 270 degrees of rotation. So in this, they may ask what is that ampelocele. So failure of reduction of physiological hernia is called as ampelocele. So the intestine will be projecting through the umbilicus. Okay, so that and all, please refer the book. Okay, so what are all the anomalies of rotation?
Sir, non-rotation or
Very good.
mixed
Non-rotation.
rotation.
Non-rotation of the gut, reverse rotation of the gut. Non-rotation means you will be having your small intestine on the right side, your large intestine, ascending colon and all on the right side. So that is reverse rotation. Sorry, left side. So that is reverse rotation. So usually if you have normal 270 degrees rotation, your small intestine, mainly jejunum and ileum, will be on the left side. Your cecum and ascending colon will be on the right side. So that is normal. So in reverse rotation, your small intestine, coiled part, jejunum and ileum will be on the right side. Your cecum, ascending colon will be on the left side. So that is reverse rotation. One more thing, the relation between duodenum and transverse colon. What is the relation between duodenum and transverse colon?
Transverse colon is anterior to the duodenum.
Very good. Transverse colon is anterior to the duodenum. In reverse rotation, the transverse colon will be posterior to that. So that is reverse rotation. Okay. So that is that things you should know regarding this. Okay. Are you clear with this now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. What is this? At least labeled. That's why I am asking whether you are attending the meeting or not. That's why I am asking this. Already it is labeled. You are saying
Development of pancreas and liver.
development of pancreas and liver. Okay. So you will be having 2 or 3 models. Okay. See that. So what is this? Number 150. Number 150.
Yes, sir.
What is this? What may be this one? Developing?
Liver, sir.
Seems to be tubular, isn't it? Seems to be tubular.
Pancreas, sir.
Pancreas is a tubular structure. Is your pancreas is a tubular
Duodenum.
structure? Duodenum.
Stomach, sir.
Stomach. So this is developing stomach. Where we are having the development of pancreatic buds. So these two, so actually, this is the junction between foregut and midgut. So this is the junction between foregut and midgut. So this is developing stomach. This is developing duodenum. So at the junction of foregut and midgut, we have formation of pancreatic bud. So what you have on the ventral aspect is called as ventral pancreatic bud. This is dorsal pancreatic bud. At the same site, at the junction of foregut and midgut, we will be having formation of another diverticulum. So that is called as hepatic diverticulum. So this is hepatic diverticulum or pars hepatica. So this will grow upwards, pass through the your falciform ligament or your ventral mesogastrium, enters into the septum transversum, where it divides to form the liver. So this you can tell us your developing liver. So this is your developing gallbladder. So your hepatic diverticulum is getting divided into pars hepatica and pars cystica. Pars cystica gives rise to gallbladder. Pars hepatica enters into the septum transversum, where it divides to form the liver. Okay. So septum transversum is part of mesoderm. So your connective tissue, your covering, outer covering, your Gleason's capsule are derived from mesoderm. But this endodermal diverticulum divides to form the remaining part of your liver. So this is developing liver. This is developing gallbladder. So this is the junction of foregut and midgut, where we are getting the formation of the smaller one given in blue color is the ventral pancreatic bud. This is dorsal pancreatic bud. So now we see that how to identify that ventral and dorsal bud. Always the dorsal bud will be larger. Don't tell the color. So that is for your understanding. It is given in different color. Okay. So now this is ventral bud. This is dorsal pancreatic bud. During the rotation of the stomach, so this part of your foregut and midgut will also undergo rotation. So at that time, this ventral bud will go to the dorsal aspect. So both will fuse to form your, actually there is no normal one. So this will go this side and fuse to form your pancreas. Now what you have to answer is, what are all the parts of pancreas developed from ventral pancreatic bud?
Accessory pancreatic.
Lower part of head and
uncinate
uncinate
process.
Process of
Yeah. Lower part of the head plus uncinate process. Lower part of head and uncinate process. Remaining upper part of the head, neck, tail, body, and all derived from your dorsal pancreatic bud. Okay, so major part of the pancreas are derived from your dorsal bud only. That's why it is larger. Ventral bud is smaller. Ventral bud forms only lower part of the head and uncinate process. So now next one is your annulus one. What is this?
Annulus.
Annulus pancreas. Very good. It is annulus pancreas. During that rotation, if there is any defect in that rotation, you won't get that moving of your ventral bud towards the dorsal bud. So that will encircle the middle of your developing duodenum as a ring. That's why it is called as annular pancreas. So in these models, any model may, not all the models will be kept, any one will be kept. So you should be able to tell whatever I told now. Developing stomach, developing duodenum. So this is the junction of foregut and midgut. Okay. So this is ventral pancreatic bud. This is dorsal pancreatic bud. Yes, number 100. Number 100.
Yes, sir.
Yes, what's your name?
Rohan, sir.
Rohan. So what are the parts of pancreas developed from dorsal pancreatic bud?
All the parts of the pancreas except the lower part of the head and the uncinate process.
Very good, very good, very good. So that is your development of pancreas. Number 75. Number 75. Total number is getting increased 172 now. Number 75. Number 75 is there or not in the meeting? Please unmute. Number 75. Yes, number 72.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So what is the development of your liver?
Sir, it develops from the hepatic diverticulum
Very
and,
good.
and the hepatic
Please proceed.
it divides into pars cystica and pars hepatic. Pars hepatic develops into future
Pars
liver.
hepatica.
Pars
Pars
hepatic.
hepatica. Pars cystica. CA.
Okay, sir.
Pars hepatica gives rise to liver. Pars
pars
cystica
cystica
gives rise to gallbladder.
Gallbladder.
Okay, ma. Very good. Thank you. So next model. What is this model? Number 75. No. Number 20. Who is number 20?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Very nice. What is this model? My screen is visible or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. It is labeled already. Development of urogenital system. Is it labeled? Are you seeing or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
Or people are sleeping?
No.
So it is continuously raining. Ideal season for sleeping. But what to do? In January you have your exam. So 29th of November you have your model. Keep it in mind. Don't waste your time. So these models, not only this, all are same. Okay, all these models are for development of urogenital system only up to this. Okay. Same thing, same model we have here also. So I will tell now what are the things you have to see here. So it is for urogenital system. Urogenital system. So mainly you have to identify these things. So this is your pronephros. What is given in red color is the pronephros. Same model, same thing. Don't get confused. So as it is clear, I am demonstrating in this pronephros. Next, what is this, Arin? If this is pronephros, what will be the next one? So what are the three stages of development of kidney? Pronephros? Pronephros?
Mesonephros,
Mesonephros, metanephros. So this is your pronephros. This will be the mesonephros. This will be the metanephros. So now if you take that pronephros, that is functional for some time only. It is functional for some time. Okay. So that's why you will be having formation of duct. So that duct is called as pronephric duct. Same pronephric duct continuous as mesonephric duct. Where it has to open? So pronephros is vestigial in human, but mesonephros will be functional for some time. That's why we have the formation of duct system. So pronephric duct, same pronephric duct continuous as mesonephric duct. Where does it open? Where do you expect that opening of the mesonephric duct? Into?
Nephric duct.
Yes, it is nephric duct where it has to open. Finally, you see it is coming down here. Anybody?
Cloaca.
It enters,
Cloaca.
opens into the cloaca. So now these two are coming under the nephric system. Now what is this means? Given in yellow color is the your gut. So this is your primitive gut. Entire yellow is primitive gut. So now this will be the foregut. Now you see that. So this is developing liver. So this will be the junction between foregut and midgut. So this is foregut. So now this is your midgut. Midgut loop is getting formed. So this is midgut loop before the gut rotation. So this is midgut loop. Now this is your hindgut. Entire thing will be the hindgut. So now important point. Now this is the vitelo-intestinal duct. So this is the connecting stalk. So this is connecting stalk. This is vitelo-intestinal duct. So this is your allantoic diverticulum. So this is your allantoic diverticulum. Now if you trace this part of your, already I told your allantoic diverticulum is getting originated from the hindgut entering into the connecting stalk. That you have to keep it in mind. Based on that knowledge, so now this is your allantoic diverticulum. So because of that formation of allantoic diverticulum, your hindgut is divided into two parts. Pre-allantoic part. So this is called as pre-allantoic part, where your allantoic diverticulum opens, that is your post-allantoic part. So entire thing will be post-allantoic part. Okay, so the post-allantoic part of hindgut is otherwise called as endodermal cloaca. So this is your endodermal cloaca. Endodermal cloaca, once again, it is getting divided into ventral part and dorsal part. So one septum will be arising from this level. So that is urorectal septum. Urorectal septum. So that urorectal septum divides the endodermal cloaca into ventral part and dorsal part. Ventral part gives rise to urinary bladder. Now you see that where mesonephric duct opens, it opens into the ventral part of endodermal cloaca. So this is ventral part. That is our future urinary bladder. So it mesonephric duct opens into the your ventral part of endodermal cloaca. So that is nothing but our future urinary bladder. Now this will be the dorsal part of your endodermal cloaca. So now our pronephric duct, then mesonephric duct. So that opens into the cloaca. Simply you can tell like that, or ventral part of endodermal cloaca you can tell. So now this is pronephros, this is mesonephros, this is metanephros. So now you see that, if you see that mesonephric duct opening into the endodermal cloaca, before that we are having formation of another diverticulum. What is this?
Ureteric bud.
Very good, very good. Ureteric bud. So this is your ureteric bud. Ureteric bud enters into the caudal part of your metanephros. So now this is called as metanephric blastema. So now if you take the development of kidney, two parts you have to tell, collecting part and secretory part. So collecting part is derived from this ureteric bud. Your secretory part is derived from this metanephros. So now this is the small part of metanephros. Into that we are having entering of our ureteric bud. So this ureteric bud enters into this metanephric part of the kidney called as metanephric blastema. It enters inside and getting divided into various parts of the collecting system. At the same time, it induces the differentiation of your metanephros to form the secretory part of your urinary system. So that is development of kidney here. So you can tell about that also. So now this is the ureteric bud. It is getting originated from the mesonephric duct. Now one question for you. This part of mesonephric duct, what happens to this part of mesonephric duct? Anybody can tell?
Gives rise to Wolffian duct.
Entire mesonephric duct is Wolffian
Gets
duct only.
absorbed to form trigone.
Ah, very good. It gets absorbed into the developing urinary bladder to form our trigone of the urinary bladder. Trigone of urinary bladder. Very good. So trigone of the urinary bladder is mesodermal in origin. Am I correct? So remaining part of the urinary bladder, endodermal in origin, that is derived from the urogenital sinus. Urogenital sinus is nothing but ventral part of the endodermal cloaca. Ventral part of the endodermal cloaca is called as urogenital sinus. That gives rise to urinary bladder. So this urinary bladder development, the entire part except the trigone, it is endodermal in origin. So this trigone is mesodermal in origin. Okay, are you clear about this model? So this is your gut system given in yellow color. So this is foregut. So this is developing liver. So this will be the junction of foregut and midgut. So this is foregut. So this is midgut loop. This is vitellointestinal duct. This is allandic diverticulum opening into the ventral part of your endodermal cloaca, nothing but urogenital sinus. So now this is your connecting stalk. For PGs, it is important. So this is connecting stalk. After cephalocaudal folding, it comes to the ventral aspect. In the initial stage, you have to include these two as a content. So this is vitellointestinal duct. This is your allandic diverticulum. Vitellointestinal duct connects the midgut and yolk sac. Allandic diverticulum opens into the developing urinary bladder. Later on, what happens to, after the complete development of urinary bladder, what happens to allandic diverticulum?
It forms urachus.
It forms urachus, otherwise called as?
Median umbilical ligament.
Very good. Median umbilical ligament. Okay. So same model. So what is the difference between here and here? So this segmentation of the nephric system will be in cranial to caudal order. First, the cranial end undergoes segmentation to form pronephros. Next, this will undergo segmentation to form our mesonephric kidney. So this is mesonephric kidney. See that it is opening into the mesonephric duct. So pronephric duct, mesonephric duct, opening into the anterior part of the endodermal cloaca. So this is metanephros, ureteric bud, and metanephric kidney. Same model, next stage. Same model, only that caudal length we are showing here. So this is the site of urorectal septum, dividing the endodermal cloaca into primitive urogenital sinus in front, primitive rectum behind. So this is the site of urorectal septum. What is the remnant of urorectal septum in adult? So in between numbers, I think you people are sleeping. We don't get time to take another lecture for this. So this is the final lecture. Once you come here, you have to see all these models. You have to read and come. You have to revise with the models. We are not going to teach. Keep it in mind. Yes. The remnant of urorectal septum in adult.
Perineal body.
Perineal body. Anybody else? Anandaram? Anandaram? Anandaram is there or not in the meeting? Anandaram is not there. Almost full attendance is there, it seems. 171 now. Advait. Yes, what is the adult remnant of urorectal septum? Yes, Annie.
So endophasia.
Pardon? You are Googling, it seems. You gonna?
Yes, sir.
What is that remnant of urorectal septum in adult?
Sir, I cannot recollect it, sir.
Very good. Denon-Villiers fascia. Denon-Villiers fascia is the very tough fascia. So that you should not forget. So while telling about the spread of prostatic cancer, the spread of prostatic cancer to the vertebral column and skull is more common. You know the reason when compared to the direct spread to the rectum. So even though you have that spread to the skull, but that may not spread to the rectum, that is the adjacent organ. So reason is that Denon-Villiers fascia, it is very, very tough. It is very, very tough. So it is the remnant of our urorectal septum. Other things are same. Ureteric bud, okay, your metanephric kidney, mesonephric duct. So this part of mesonephric duct is getting absorbed into this urinary bladder to form our trigone. So this part forms your trigone. In the same model, they may ask about the what are all the other derivatives of mesonephric duct. Who is going to enumerate? Other than this, your collecting system of kidney, what are all the other structures derived from mesonephric duct? Somebody already told it is Wolffian duct. Entire mesonephric duct is called as Wolffian duct only. So what are the derivatives of Wolffian duct? Yes. It is the male genital duct. Male genital duct. What are all the genital derivatives you have to tell? Okay. What, Huda? Only Huda, Yugana, Annie are answering. Others are keeping quiet. I don't know whether you people are attending the meeting or not. Same model. Shanika, we won't keep this model and all. Then I will delete from the list. Same thing. So this is your allandic diverticulum. So this is your hindgut. So this allandic diverticulum from hindgut goes to the connecting stalk. So this part of hindgut is your pre-allandic part. This part is the post-allandic part. Now the septum will be formed here. Okay, so total is the septum will be forming here. So this will be the ventral part. This will be the dorsal part. This we are not going to keep. So now once again, same thing. That is your endodermal cloaca. This is the urorectal septum. So now this is the ventral part, primitive urogenital sinus. This is the dorsal part, primitive rectum. Now here you see the septum has been 3/4 of the septum has been formed. So now this is primitive urogenital sinus. Into that opening of your allandic diverticulum. So now this is the urorectal septum. So this is our primitive rectum. So here that septum has been completely formed. So now this is the ventral part giving rise to urinary bladder. This is allandic diverticulum. Now this is the dorsal part or posterior part giving rise to rectum and anal canal. So now this is that urorectal septum. Complete formation of urorectal septum. In adult, it is called as Denon-Villiers fascia. Okay. Same model. Same, only that distal end is given. So this model. So here, this is the initial stage of formation of urorectal septum. Here complete formation of urorectal septum is there. Okay, shall we move to the next model? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What is this? Developing?
Heart.
Yes, developing heart. What about after 9:30? What is your program? Any intimation from community medicine?
So no classes have been scheduled. No, sir.
No classes, no online classes. So can we have another honor? I don't know whether I may be able to finish all the remaining models within another honor. Yes, I can able to finish it off. So now you can have 10 minutes break. After that, I will start from this model. Okay. Don't leave from the meeting. Just we can have break. Okay. So what is the time now?
9:15.
Okay. So 9:25 we will start. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Have you joined, students, all of you? Shall I start now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. So this is the model of formation of cardiac loop. Okay, so in this model, you should be able to identify what are all the various parts of the fused endothelial heart tube. What are the various parts of fused endothelial heart tube? Anybody can recollect and tell?
Bulbous cordis.
Very good. Bulbous cordis,
Truncus arteriosus.
Truncus arteriosus.
truncus arteriosus. Next.
Primitive
atria and ventricles.
Very good, very good. Primitive ventricle, primitive atrium. So that fusion is incomplete at the end of venous, at the site of venous end. So that unfused parts are called as horns of sinus venosus. That's all. Very good, very good. So now we will see. So if you come, this is the arterial end, this is the venous end. Don't confuse, even though it is given in red in color. So this is the venous end, this is the arterial end. So what is given in dark color is the truncus arteriosus. So what are all the structures derived from truncus arteriosus?
Ascending aorta and pulmonary trunk.
Very good, very good. Ascending aorta and pulmonary trunk. Please, others also, please watch or note down. So these are all the questions will be asked in the Viva. So you have to, not only you are getting your short notes, MCQ, or sometimes in one part of essay, you will be getting embryology Viva exclusively during your Viva in the afternoon. So 10 marks for embryology, keep it in mind. So truncus arteriosus, that gives rise to your ascending aorta and pulmonary trunk. So next part is called as your bulbous cordis. So this is called as your bulbous cordis. Now next to that, what you have is the ventricle. So this is atrium. So these are the unfused part, horns of sinus venosus. So this is atrium. Next part is the sinus venosus and its horns. Okay, so these are the various parts of fused endothelial heart tube. Truncus arteriosus. So for differentiation, what is given in black color is the truncus arteriosus. Next, your bulbous cordis, ventricle, atrium, sinus venosus, horns of sinus venosus. Into that, you will be having opening of the veins. So now you told already your truncus arteriosus, that gives rise to your ascending aorta and pulmonary trunk. Now what happens to bulbous cordis?
Sir, bulbous cordis, the conus part will fuse with the
Primitive ventricle to give rise to ventricle.
right.
Yes, yes. The conus part is getting absorbed into the ventricle. So conus gives rise to two things. One is your outflowing tract of right ventricle. So what is that outflowing part of right ventricle?
Infundibulum.
Outflowing part of your left ventricle is
Aortic vestibule.
so conus gives rise to your infundibulum of right ventricle and aortic vestibule of left ventricle. Okay, so now that conus is getting absorbed into the ventricle. So now ventricle is getting divided into right half and left half by the formation of interventricular septum. Now we have primitive atrial chamber that is also getting divided into right and left. But before that, you will be having absorption of sinus venosus into sinus venosus is getting absorbed into
Right atrium.
right atrium. So the sinus venosus, if you have, we have right horn and left horn. Right horn is enlarged and getting absorbed into the right atrium. to form our posterior smooth part of right atrium, that is called as
Sinus venerum.
sinus venerum part. Very good. So now anterior rough part only derived from this right half of the primitive atrial chamber. Okay. So what happens to left horn?
Coronary side.
Very good, very good. These are all the points you have to keep it in mind till our life. So left horn, as your right horn is getting enlarged, left horn undergoes degeneration, but it is not completely getting degenerated. Left horn becomes small to form our coronary sinus. So now this model, so once you name all these parts, so this model is specifically for our formation of cardiac loop. So if you see that actually that margin of pericardium is not given here, pericardial cavity, it will be like this one, D. So part of the heart tubes are outside the pericardial cavity. So for that, we need formation of cardiac loop to get accommodated into the pericardial cavity. At the same time, to get our final position of the chambers. So we have formation of cardiac loop. So during the formation of cardiac loop, what happens? Your bulbous cordis as well as the ventricular part descends downwards, anterior and to the right. Note that point. Your ventricular part with the bulbous cordis descends downwards, or otherwise we used to tell ventral, caudal and to the right. Ventrocaudal and to the right. At the same time, what happens to atrium and sinus venosus? They are going up dorsocranial. They are going dorsocranially. So this part comes down to the right. This part goes up dorsum as well as cranium. Dorsocranially, it goes to posterior aspect as well as cranium. Please try to understand this. And final position of developing heart you are seeing here. Try to understand this. How this ventricular part comes to the ventral aspect. How that atrial part goes to the posterior aspect. That is formation of your cardiac loop. So this point, if you know, you can understand how we are getting our right ventricle and left ventricle and the ventral aspect, your atria and the posterior aspect. So that is called as formation of cardiac loop. So this bulbous cordis, that otherwise your conus along with this ventricular part descends downwards. So that is ventrocaudally, at the same time to the right. This goes up dorsocranially. So that's why both atria are coming to the dorsal aspect like this. So this is called as formation of cardiac loop. So if there is any defect in this formation of cardiac loop, that only leads to
Dextrocardia.
Very good. That is dextrocardia. So that only you have to understand from these two models. Of course, this also for same thing. Okay, so that is formation of cardiac loop. Very good. So now you know what are the various parts of fused endothelial heart tube. What are the structures coming from each? How we are getting the formation of cardiac loop. Same thing here, it is not differentiated. So this is ventricle, this is atrium plus sinus venosus with two horns. Okay, so now if this is primitive ventricle, this will be the bulbous cordis. The cranial end will be the truncus arteriosus. So truncus arteriosus, conus, ventricle, your atrium, sinus venosus and two horns. So this is descending down and to the right. This is going up and cranium. So finally we are getting the atria and the posterior aspect at the same time above. As this ventricular part comes down and to the ventral. That's why ventricles are on the ventral aspect as well as down. your atria are on the dorsal aspect as well as up. So that is your formation of cardiac loop and various parts of the fused endothelial heart tube. So now next model is for the development of septum. So this is for mainly the development of interatrial septum. So what you know about interatrial septum? How it is formed?
Sir, it is formed by the septum primum.
Oh, yes, very
And,
good.
First, what happens? The septum primum is attached to the right atrial wall, and then after coming till the
Right atrial wall. That's not correct.
So the septum root of the heart.
Root of the heart. Anybody else?
Sir, it arises from the roof of the
Roof.
Of the cardiac chamber.
Roof of the common atrial chamber. That is correct. Okay. So somebody told now roof or root. Somebody told now root like that or roof. So it is from roof. Okay, we are getting septum. Yes, students,
Septum
please.
primum from the roof.
Anyone can answer. Who is answering now? Yugana or Annie? Only these voices I am getting.
So both come from the roof only, sir.
Very good, very good. That point is important. You are telling both, but you told only septum primum. What is the other one?
Septum
secondum.
Septum secondum.
Yes, septum secondum. So we have only one model here. So your interatrial development of interatrial septum by formation of septum primum, septum secondum. Important point you have to note, both are getting originated from the roof only. Then any other septum involved in the development of interatrial septum?
Septum intermedium.
Very good. Septum intermedium. What is that septum intermedium?
AV cushion.
Very good. It is always called as AV cushion. Where do you expect that AV cushion? Definitely in the atrioventricular canal. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So now here we have to identify what are all the various septa we have here. Now you see that what you are seeing here is the septum primum. So this is septum primum beginning stage. So that septum primum only descends downwards and fuses with your septum intermedium. Now we are telling this as a common atrial chamber. Like that, this is common ventricular chamber. Now this is our AV canal. Okay, so the canal between atrium and ventricle. So this is AV canal on either side. This is our AV canal. So in the AV canal, that is atrioventricular canal, we have formation of cushion or septum. That is called as AV cushion or septum intermedium. So here what happens, the septum primum that is getting originated from the roof of the common atrial chamber descends downwards. While descending downwards, you will be having a communication here between septum primum and septum intermedium. So that is called as ostium primum. I am telling that how we are getting that septum, interatrial septum. So after that, what happens? Finally, the septum primum descends downwards and getting fused with septum intermedium. By that time, the ostium primum, what is formed already, will be closed. So now we need another communication between right atrium and right ventricle. So in fetal life, that is very important, right to left shunt. For that, we are having formation of another opening here that is called as ostium secundum. Now, this is the very small part of your septum primum attached to the roof. So here only we are having formation of our ostium secundum. So that is opening or foramen secundum. Now the another septum, so that is septum secundum, it is getting originated from the roof and descends downwards. So already the septum primum has been fused with septum intermedium. So now the lower part of the septum primum, sorry, your intra-atrial septum is formed by this septum primum only. Now this septum secundum descends downwards and overlaps your septum primum. Okay, after delivery, you will be having fusion of these two to form our interatrial septum. So that is the development of interatrial septum. Okay, for PGs, we used to ask development of interventricular septum also. So are you clear with interatrial septum now? So this is septum primum, entire thing. So this is our ostium secundum. So this is septum secundum descending downwards towards the your septum primum. So now you see there is the next stage. So it is further, it is descending down. So this is septum secundum. This is septum primum attached to your septum intermedium. Now this is your small remnant of your septum primum. So entire thing is septum primum. This is septum secundum. So you should be able to demonstrate what is what. For PGs, so this is the interventricular septum, mainly muscular part. So here it is reversal, that the muscular part of interventricular septum is formed by the origin of a septum from the floor of the common ventricular chamber. From there it ascends upwards towards your septum intermedium. Towards septum intermedium. Now this opening is called as primary interventricular opening. Primary interventricular opening. How this is closed? So this part is closed by the formation of membranous part of the interventricular septum. How that membranous part of the interventricular septum is formed? So it is formed by the upward ascending up of your this muscular part of interventricular septum. At the same time, proliferation of the septum intermedium. At the same time, now this is your right ventricle. So in the right ventricle, you will be having already your bulbar septum. So that bulbar septum descending downwards and joins with your proliferated septum intermedium. So in that way, this part is closed. So this part of ventricular septum, what is formed here is called as, or what is closing the primary interventricular opening is membranous part of the interventricular septum. So that membranous part is formed by the proliferation of septum intermedium and descending down of bulbar septum from the your that is outflowing tract, that is from the pulmonary trunk. It is descending down. Both are joining together form the membranous part. So that's why the ventricular septal defect is more common at the level of membranous part. That may be due to the defect in the proliferation of septum intermedium or descending down of bulbar septum. So that is development of membranous part of the interventricular septum. The lower one is the muscular part of interventricular septum. So this we used to ask PGs, not the UGs, but UG students, if you know, it is well and good. Okay, are you clear with these models now? It's very simple. Okay, these two both are same. Okay, so septum primum, septum secundum. So now what is the remnant of septum primum in adult life?
Fossa valis.
No, fossa ovalis. What is the remnant of septum secundum?
Limbus
Limbus
fossa
valis.
Limbus fossa ovalis. Very good, very good. Now what is this model?
Aortic
Aortic
arches.
Aortic arches. So this is your ventral aorta. This is your dorsal aorta. So both are getting fused down. So connecting these two, what we have is your aortic arches. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why that? Fifth one is given in
Degenerates.
yes,
Degenerates.
let it degenerated. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you are 6. Fifth one disappears. So what are the other arches getting disappeared?
First and second.
Second.
Very good. First also disappears, second also disappears, fifth one disappears. So the remaining is your third, fourth, and sixth. Simply, I will tell what is the fate of your third one. Third one is otherwise called as carotid arch. Carotid arch. So we are having the development of your carotid arteries. Your common carotid, external carotid, and internal carotid we are getting from third arch. So that is the fate of your third arch. What about your fourth arch? We have difference between right and left. On the left side, mainly it gives rise to arch of aorta. On the right side, it gives rise to
Subclavian.
right subclavian artery. Very good. Now sixth arch
Is
Pulmonary artery.
Pulmonary
very good, very good. Pulmonary arteries, not pulmonary trunk. Once again, keep it in mind. Pulmonary trunk is derived from
Truncus
very good, very good. Truncus arteriosus. Very good, very good, very good. So now this is the final stage of your aortic arches. So now this is the third arch. So now in this third arch, we have one outgrowth. That outgrowth is the external carotid. Okay. In previous exam, I have asked about the development of external carotid. Simply you have to write outgrowth from the third arch. That's all. So now this is your internal carotid. Now this part is the common carotid. Remaining all forms your internal carotid. So this is your internal carotid. So very simple. So now this is the fourth arch. Now on the left side it forms arch of aorta. On the right side it forms right subclavian artery. Now this is your sixth arch. Sixth arch, if you take, it is divided into ventral and dorsal part by the formation of your branch to lung bud. Branch to lung bud, developing lung bud. So now this, we used to tell proximal and distal or ventral and dorsal also. So this ventral part on either side forms your pulmonary arteries. We have difference in the dorsal part. So in the dorsal part on the right side disappears. On the left side it persists to form
ductus arteriosus.
Our ductus arteriosus. So now this is the vagus now descending down. Now this is the your recurrent laryngeal nerve. So on the left side it hooks around the ductus arteriosus and goes up. On the right side, as this part disappears, it is going up. So that's why it hooks around your right subclavian artery on the right side. So now this is vagus. This is recurrent laryngeal nerve. This is on the right side. As your distal part or dorsal part of your sixth aortic arch disappears, our recurrent laryngeal nerve moves upwards and hooks around the right subclavian artery on the right side. Left side, it hooks around the ductus arteriosus. Later on in adult life, it hooks around the arch of aorta at the same level. What is the remnant of ductus arteriosus?
Ligamentum arteriosum.
Very good. Ligamentum arteriosum. So at the site of ligamentum arteriosum, your left recurrent laryngeal nerve hooks around the your arch of aorta. So the same question was asked in the MCQ in this time, isn't it? Regarding vagus. What are all the branches of vagus in the neck and thorax? You should know. Are you clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Only three arches you should know. Third arch carotid, fourth arch right side your subclavian, left side arch of aorta, sixth arch pulmonary arteries and ductus arteriosus. You have to remember. Now this model is new for you. So this is for the development of phase. So I will tell that what are all the various parts, then you have to tell about the what are all the structures derived from each. So this is for development of phase. Okay. So now this is stomatodium. So this is stomatodium. Now on either side, maxillary process. This is mandibular process. So this is mandibular process that has been fused. This is maxillary process. Now this is stomatodium. So above what you have is the frontonasal process. In that frontonasal process, already nasal pit has been developed. So nasal pit has been developed. So now what is this?
Medial frontonasal process.
Medial nasal process. No need to tell once again frontal. So this is medial nasal process. This is lateral nasal process. So this is the nasal pit. So now what happens to this two medial nasal process?
They're approximated.
Fused.
They are getting compressed by the proliferation of these two maxillary process. So they are getting compressed. So these two medial nasal processes are getting compressed and fused to form
Nasal septum and philtrum.
Philtrum and nasal septum.
philtrum. Very good. Philtrum and nasal septum. Philtrum and nasal septum. Very good. Very good, students. What happens to lateral nasal process?
The lateral
Ala of the nose.
from the ala of the nose.
Ala of the nose. So now how the upper lip is developed? I'll call any number. But who is number 45? Number 45. Please unmute, even if you don't know, no problem. What's your name? Harshavardhini, number 45. Yes, what is derived from lateral nasal process? What is derived from? So this is lateral nasal process. What is derived from it? Just now the other students told, that's why you are not following me. You are not following your own friends also. Huh? We don't know how to teach more than this. Ala of the nose. Okay. Number 25. Number 25. Who is number 25? What's your name?
Sir, Balagopala Menon.
Yes. Balagopala Menon. What is the development
Yes,
of
sir.
upper lip? Upper lip. Can you explain from this model? What is that central part of upper lip called as? Center part of the upper lip is called as what? Where we have a depression.
I don't know, sir.
You don't know. So you are an anatomy student in medical college. You don't know the various parts of your body. Then what is the use of coming to medical college and already you have spent 1 year. Still you don't know your various parts of your body. No one is happy about you, man. I am getting a lot of complaint about you. You are not at all reading. I don't know what you are doing in the hostel. Sheetal.
Yes, sir.
Sheetal, what is that central part of the upper lip is called as?
Philtrum, sir.
Philtrum. How it is developed?
Sir, it is developed from the fusion or approximation of the medial nasal processes.
So two medial nasal processes are getting fused to form our philtrum. Next, how that lateral part of the upper lip is developed. So this medial nasal process is getting fused with maxillary process to form our lateral part of the upper lip. So that maxillary process not only getting fused with your medial nasal process, it is also getting fused with lateral nasal process. So if there is failure of fusion of these two medial nasal process with each other, you will be getting cleft in the median part. If you have failure of fusion of medial nasal process with maxillary process, you will get cleft in the lateral part of the upper lip. If there is failure of fusion of lateral nasal process with maxillary process, you will be getting oblique facial cleft. Oblique facial cleft. So this maxillary process not only getting fused with medial nasal process and lateral nasal process, it is also getting fused with your mandibular process. Your mandibular process also to form your cheek. Very good. Very
Increase
good.
the size of the stomatium.
Yes, that reduce the size of the stomatodium. So that's all about in this model. So this is your stomatodium. So these two are the maxillary processes. These two are mandibular process. Mandibular process are getting fused to form our lower lip and lower jaw. So this is our frontonasal process. After the formation of nasal pit, it is getting divided into medial nasal process and lateral nasal process. So this lateral nasal process forms ala of the nose. So these two medial nasal processes are getting compressed and fused due to the proliferation of maxillary process. So fusion of these two medial nasal process with each other forms our philtrum of the upper lip. If there is any defect in the fusion of these two, that leads to central cleft or cleft in the philtrum, that is called as hair lip. If you take your lateral part of the upper lip, that is formed by the fusion of your medial nasal process with maxillary process. So these two fuse to form the lateral part of the upper lip. So if there is any defect in the fusion of medial nasal process with maxillary process, that leads to cleft in the lateral part of the upper lip. Very simple. Now this maxillary process also fuses with lateral nasal process. If there is any failure, that leads to development of oblique facial cleft. So this maxillary process not only fuses with these two, it also fuses with mandibular process to form our cheek. So because of the fusion of maxillary process with mandibular process, we are having formation of cheek. So that's why the size of the mouth is getting reduced. So in dog, there is normally we don't get fusion of maxillary process with mandibular process. That's why it is having wide mouth without cheek. Are you clear now? Most of you are sleeping, it seems. So we can't do anything. So same model from different book. So just I will show what is what. So now this is stomatodium. This is your mandibular process, fused mandibular process. This is maxillary process. Okay. So now in the frontonasal process, these two are medial nasal process. They are getting approximated. Now this is lateral nasal process that forms our ala of the nose. So this is lateral nasal process on either side. So now this is medial nasal process. So that much is enough. In addition to that, you are having developing eye here. So now next stage, same thing. So why it is given for the nerve supply. So this is frontonasal process. So whatever structure developed from frontonasal process are supplied by
ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve.
Very good. So whatever derived from maxillary process,
Maxillary division.
Maxillary division.
whatever derived from mandibular process,
Mandibular division.
Mandibular division.
So another question, what is the source of frontonasal process?
Wall of
Mesenchymal cells covering the forebrain.
Covering the
Very good.
forebrain
Forebrain vesicle. Source of maxillary and mandibular process.
first
First pharyngeal.
ventral and the first.
Very good, very good. So that much is enough. Okay. So these are the three models. All are for development of face only. Sorry, students. Class எடுத்துட்டு இருக்கேன். Class எடுத்துட்டு இருக்கேன். Okay. So now this is next model. That is for what?
Pharyngeal.
Pharyngeal arches. Okay. So anyhow, it is old model. We are having that new one also. So this is for your pharyngeal arch derivatives. So this is your first arch. So what is this?
Malleus and
Malleus and ingus derived from
first arch.
first arch. What is this?
Mandibular.
Cartilage. Meckel's
cartilage.
cartilage. Okay. So this only you are going to demonstrate here. Remaining thing will be asked. So what are the now of first arch? What are all the muscles derived from first arch? That already so many times I enumerated. So what are all the skeletal derivatives of first arch? That only you are going to tell. Okay. So next, second arch. So what is this? Stapes. What is this? Styloid process. Very good. Next.
Upper part of body.
Upper part of the
horn and
body.
upper part of body of
Yes. Very good. Very good. So from the second arch, we have stapes, styloid process, upper part of the body and lesser horn. Okay. So now in between, we have that perichondrium covering the second arch cartilage that forms our stylohyoid ligament. So this is the stylohyoid ligament. These are all the skeletal derivatives. So now already you know what the nerve of this arch. What are all the muscles derived from each? Already we have enumerated so many times. So that you should be able to enumerate here also. Now if you go to the third arch, we have the development of greater horn and lower part of the body. So that is the skeletal derivatives of third arch. Very simple. So already you know what is the nerve, what is the muscle derived from each. Okay. So now your fourth arch. So skeletal derivatives of fourth arch only you are seeing here. So upper part of the lamina of thyroid cartilage and your superior horn derived from your fourth arch. So already you know the nerve of fourth arch, muscle of fourth arch. What is that muscle derived from fourth arch?
Cricothyroid.
Very good. Cricothyroid. Okay, next, of course. So now this is your sixth arch. So skeletal derivatives, lower part of the lamina of thyroid cartilage, inferior horn and cricoid cartilage. Okay. Yes, that is skeletal derivative. So in this model, you are going to demonstrate only the skeletal derivatives of first, second, third, fourth, and sixth arches. In addition to that, you should be able to tell what is the nerve of each arch, what are all the muscles derived from each arch. Okay, so that is your pharyngeal arches. So next, this is for what?
Development of tongue.
Development of tongue. So this is your first arch. At the ventral end of first arch, we have formation of
Lingual swellings.
Two lingual swellings and what is this?
Foramen
Median.
No, tuberculum imbar.
Tube.
Tuberculum imbar. So two lingual swellings and tuberculum imbar. Three are formed at the ventral end of first arch. So this is first arch, second arch, third arch, fourth arch, sixth arch. So at the ventral end of first arch, we have formation of two endodermal swellings. That is your two lingual swellings and tuberculum imbar. So these three swellings used to form mucous membrane of anterior two-third of the tongue. Anterior two-third of the tongue. Next, another median swelling is formed. So that is called as hypobronchial eminence. Hypobronchial eminence. So that hypobronchial eminence is mainly formed by third, fourth arches, mainly third and fourth. So now the cranial part of the hypobranchial eminence forms your mucous membrane of posterior 1/3 of the tongue. So the cranial part is mainly contributed from the third arch. So that's why the nerve of third arch is glossopharyngeal nerve. So that's why the mucous membrane of posterior 1/3 of the tongue is supplied by glossopharyngeal nerve. So like that, if you see the mucous membrane of anterior 2/3 of the tongue, the general sensation is carried by lingual nerve, is a branch of mandibular nerve, your first arch nerve. So next, taste is carried by your cauda tympani nerve, that is the pre-traumatic nerve of first arch. That's what you can demonstrate the nerve supply of tongue. So as I told already, so these lingual swellings, tuberculum impar and cranial part of the hypobranchial eminence are endodermal swellings. They form only mucous membrane of the tongue. Your tongue muscles are derived from occipital somites. Very good. Occipital myotome or occipital somites. Next, remaining fibrous tissue are derived from mesoderm. Then only your answer will be complete. Now, what happens to cranial part of hypobranchial eminence? So that forms our epiglottis. Epiglottis is derived from the cranial part of our hypobranchial eminence. This only your
Caudal part.
Caudal part. Caudal part of hypobranchial eminence forms your epiglottis. Okay, so here also you should be able to demonstrate the nerve supply. Okay, so the taste receptor present over the ventral aspect of your epiglottis is supplied by internal laryngeal nerve. So internal laryngeal nerve is a branch of superior laryngeal nerve. That in turn is a nerve of your fourth arch. Okay, are you clear with this model? It is easy, very easy model. Same another model also we have. So these two lingual swellings, tuberculum impar, foramen cecum, hypobranchial eminence. So here you are clearly able to make out that the formation of hypobranchial eminence main contribution is from third, fourth arch, not that second arch is involved. In this model here that they have shown that second arch also. So we will keep only this model. So this is you are anatomically correct. So the first arch is formed. Sorry, your first arch forms your two lingual swellings and tuberculum impar. Second arch is not involved in the formation of hypobranchial eminence because due to that overgrowth of your third and fourth arch, second arch is getting submerged. Okay, so now this is hypobranchial eminence. So cranial part and caudal part. Now this is the foramen cecum. So what is that diverticulum getting originated from this?
Thyroglossal duct.
Thyroglossal duct. Thyroglossal duct. So now this model is mainly for pharyngeal pouches. Pharyngeal pouches. Okay. So now important point here. So now this is your first pouch. This is first cleft. So first pouch, first cleft. These are all the remaining clefts getting obliterated by the downward growth of your second arch. So now already you know that only from first arch we are getting
external acoustic.
External acoustic meatus. So this is external acoustic meatus. Remaining all clefts are getting obliterated. So before complete obliteration, you will be having cervical sinus. So the cervical sinus will also completely obliterated. Sometimes it may persist to form bronchial cyst. Very good. Bronchial cyst. So the what is the site of bronchial cyst?
Anterior border of sternocleidomastoid.
Very good. Along the anterior border of your sternocleidomastoid, you will be having this bronchial cyst. So that is the remnant of cervical sinus. So now if you go to the pouches, so cleft over only first cleft that forms your external acoustic meatus. Now this is your first pouch. So that elongates to form a tubular part that is called as your tubotympanic recess. Yes, tubotympanic recess. The tubular part forms your auditory tube, your cavity part forms your tympanic cavity. That is nothing but our middle ear cavity. Middle ear cavity is derived from this tympanic part. The tubular part forms our auditory tube. So this is the next stage. You see that. So this is your external acoustic meatus. This is our middle ear cavity. So in between we are having formation of tympanic membrane. So tympanic membrane development is contributed by ectoderm, endoderm, as well as intervening mesoderm. So the pars tensa part is derived from this your mesoderm. So ectoderm, endoderm, as well as mesoderm are contributed to the development of our tympanic membrane. So that is your first pouch and first cleft. Next, if you go to the second pouch, so here you will be having accumulation of lymphatic nodule surrounding that your second pouch to form our palatine tonsil. So the tonsillar crypt present in the palatine tonsil is considered as remnant of this second pouch. So second pouch gives rise to palatine tonsil. Now if you go to the third pouch, we have ventral and dorsal part. So your ventral part forms your thymus. Dorsal part forms your
inferior parathyroid.
Inferior parathyroid. So that yes, inferior parathyroid. That point is important. So this part forms inferior parathyroid. This one forms your thymus. So next, if you go to the fourth pouch, once again ventral and dorsal part. Ventral part forms ultimobronchial body. Your dorsal part forms your superior parathyroid. So superior parathyroid is derived from this. Inferior parathyroid is derived from this. So inferior parathyroid is from third pouch. Your superior parathyroid is from fourth pouch. That point you have to keep it in mind. Okay. So now this is ultimobronchial body. So that ultimobronchial body gives rise to
Parafollicular cells of thyroid gland.
Yes, very good. Parafollicular cells of thyroid gland. So another one more point also I told. Sometimes this ventral part fuses with your rudimentary fifth pouch to form caudal. Very good. Very good. Caudal pharyngeal complex. So that caudal pharyngeal complex composed of three components. One is lateral thyroid element. Next is thymic rudiment. Another one is ultimobronchial body. So these are the three components of caudal pharyngeal complex. All are self-explanatory. Thymic rudiment will be incorporated along with the developing thymus from third pouch. Your thymic rudiment will be incorporated along with the developing thyroid. So thyroid is developed from thyroglossal duct. So now this ultimobronchial body will be incorporated into the developing thyroid gland to form our parafollicular cells. Okay, so recently we have taken this class. So it is very easy model for you. Am I correct? Easily
Yes.
you can demonstrate first cleft, first pouch, second pouch, third pouch, and fourth pouch. And cervical sinus. What is the remnant of cervical sinus? Are you clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we are not going to keep this model. So this here we are seeing only third pouch and fourth pouch. Okay, so you leave it. So I am not going to keep this for your exam. So now what is this? Is labeled.
The brain
Primary vein, brain vesicles.
No, brain vesicles. So
Neural
already you know that neural tube, cranial end of the neural tube forms our brain. The caudal end forms your spinal cord. So that cranial end of the neural tube differentiate to form brain vesicles. So that brain vesicles are forebrain or prosencephalon. Next midbrain or mesencephalon. Next your rhombencephalon. So prosencephalon, mesencephalon, and rhombencephalon. So already you know that what happens to each. From the prosencephalon, we have outgrowth So that is called as telencephalon. So now the center part of the prosencephalon is called as diencephalon. The outgrowth part is called as telencephalon. So what is derived from telencephalon?
Cerebral hemisphere.
Cerebral hemispheres. What is the cavity of telencephalon?
Lateral
Lateral ventricle is the cavity of telencephalon. Now the center diencephalon gives rise to mainly
Thalamus, hypothalamus.
so mainly thalamus, hypothalamus. What is the cavity of diencephalon?
Third ventricle.
Ventricle. Very good. Now mesencephalon. Mesencephalon gives rise to our midbrain. What is the cavity of mesencephalon?
Cerebral
Aqueduct of Sylvius.
Very good. Aqueduct of Sylvius or cerebral aqueduct is the cavity. So that connects your lateral ventricle, sorry, your third ventricle and fourth ventricle. So next is your rhombencephalon. Rhombencephalon is divided into metencephalon and myelencephalon. Metencephalon and myelencephalon. Metencephalon gives rise to pons and cerebellum, where myelencephalon gives rise to your medulla. So pons, medulla and cerebellum. So in between these three, we are having our fourth ventricle. So cavity of fourth ventricle is the rhombencephalon. This only you are going to tell about this model. So you have to identify this as prosencephalon, mesencephalon and rhombencephalon, that much. Okay. So now what are all the things derived from each? What are all the cavities may be asked. So now next stage. So we will keep only that model, then the cavity. We are not going to keep all these things. So next this will be kept. So you will be having this, next this. So this is for cavity only. Okay. So now this is your prosencephalon. This is the central part, diencephalon. These two are the telencephalon. So what you are having here is the third ventricle. So these two are lateral ventricle. So both are connected by
Foramen of Monroe.
the interventricular foramen or foramen of Monroe. So now these two are lateral ventricles. Okay. So now this part will be the diencephalon giving rise to third ventricle. So now this is your rhombencephalon. So that cavity is
Fourth ventricle.
fourth ventricle. So connecting these two, what we have is
Cerebral aqueduct.
cerebral aqueduct. Cerebral aqueduct. So that's all about this model. So this is for cavity. So that's all about your development of brain. So two more points I told, that is your formation of these. So this is cranial to caudal. We have this arrangement: prosencephalon, mesencephalon, and rhombencephalon. So later on, how we are getting the final arrangement of the brain. So that is by the formation of bend in this. So that is called as flexures. So first flexure to be formed is cervical flexure at the junction of your rhombencephalon and your spinal cord. So that is the first one to be formed, that is cervical flexure. So next one to be formed is in the mesencephalon. So that is mesencephalic flexure. So next one is formed is your pontine flexure. Pontine flexure. So this is the next one, pontine. Last one is telencephalic flexure. So after the formation of all these flexes in order, we are getting our final brain. So cervical flexure, next is mesencephalic flexure in the midbrain, next pontine flexure in the rhombencephalon, finally your telencephalon flexure, leading to formation of our final brain. Okay. So then I told about the neural crest derivatives. So two slides I have projected in that. So already we have shared that slide in the LMS also. So what are all the latest trend about the derivatives of neural crest cells are there in the second slide. Okay. So So that's all about the models. So only you will be having all these models in the Viva. So there are 1 or 2 models we are not going to keep. Okay, so remaining all models will be kept. So from this Viva will be asked, but it is not a rule. The examiners have to ask only questions from this. They may ask anything, but in general they used to explain or select any one model, and they used to ask questions from this. From this they can go out also. So whatever they feel at that time they can ask, but in general from the models the questions will be asked. That is for your embryology Viva in the afternoon. Okay, so I will post this class recording also. So some problem in the Microsoft Teams, it seems some of the students are not able to join. So I will create another Google Classroom. I will post the details. Please join in that. I will put this video or a video recording in that Google Classroom. I will make arrangement. I will put that code in the WhatsApp group. You can join in the Google Classroom. So other PPTs also I will share in this Google Classroom. Okay. Are you clear with about the models? Anything you want in these models to be explained? Or if you need anything, please note down the models. Later on, intimate me while coming here. I will explain. Okay. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall we leave now? Okay, I will close the meeting. So you can leave now. So I will create a Google Classroom. I will put the code. Please all of you join. So I will put this video in that. So the other assignment also you can post in that. So I will create that assignment also. Please other students, those who have submitted in Teams, please once again upload in this Google Classroom also. It will be easy for me for the correction. So already you have submitted 2 assignments. This is the 3rd one. So average of these 3 assignments will be taken for day-to-day activities. So 10 marks we have for that. So the mark will be taken from these 3 assignments only. Some of the students have not submitted 1 or 2 assignments, so they will lose the mark. That also keep it in mind. So if you are, some of the students are having problem in uploading it, so that's why I am creating this Google Classroom. Please all the students, once again, please submit in that Google Classroom. So then only it will be easy for me to correct it, to put the mark. Okay. Are you clear?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, only the recent assignment we need to resubmit.
Only recent. Other things are there in LMS also, that already I evaluated. I will put the mark. Only this recent one I have to evaluate. So most of you submitted in the Teams, very good. But some of them are having problem, but I couldn't rectify that problem. So that's why only this recent assignment you have to resubmit once again in the Google Classroom, what I am going to create today.
Sir, PPT in Google Classroom, will you share only your PPTs or other teachers' PPTs also, sir?
All the PPTs you want?
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay, I will try. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You can leave now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.